What's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be going over 7 different real estate investing mistakes that have cost me over $1 million in my real estate investing career. So if you don't want to make the same mistakes and lose that amount of money, definitely watch this video to the end. And that being said, please smash that like button and let's jump into mistake number 1. So mistake number 1 is not knowing the zoning laws. If you're in a large city, or even if you're in the suburbs, wherever you are, you need to know the zoning laws, because some properties, for example, like I learned the hard way several times, could be converted into, let's say, 5-unit condos or 10-unit condos, therefore making their value significantly more than if it was just like your standard fix and flip. So what happened to me actually a couple times, it should have only been once, but what happened to me a couple times was I wholesale deals that should have been worth like significantly more than they actually were. Or I should have just purchased a property, lived there, and then eventually, fix it up or develop the property. So you need to know like the highest and best use when it comes to zoning. And the good thing is this is all public information. It's easily accessible through your city's website. Because what will happen is when you're doing your marketing for good real estate deals, you're going to get all types of leads. You're going to get your standard fix and flip leads. You're going to get your sellers that want like $1 million for something that probably worth like half of that. And then you're going to come across properties that could be zoned differently. Maybe the property could be subdivided. Maybe you could build a 10-unit condo complex. There's so many different options when it comes to the zoning laws. So after I found out that I had missed out on probably several $100,000 worth of profit from those 2 deals that I basically gave away, I learned the zoning laws pretty well. So now if I get a lead, especially if it's near a city, the closer I found that the closer the property is to like the urban core of the neighborhood, the more likely that it could have some interesting zoning. Some zoning where maybe you're allowed to build higher, maybe you're allowed to develop it into condos, maybe you're allowed to do all types of different things with it. So keep it in mind and get a good understanding of the zoning laws. Mistake number 2 is not knowing the tenant laws. So in some cities, the tenant laws are borderline insane. You might have to like basically bribe the tenants who might not even live at the property, might not even technically be tenants, but because of some areas, laws and regulations, there might be certain loopholes where tenants have rights that they ordinarily wouldn't have. In a normal city, they might not have them. So you really need to understand the tenant's rights. And if the tenant has, let's say, the first right of refusal, you need to make sure that they either assign those rights to you or that the time period expires so that they can't just shop around your offer and delay the sale and things like that. Because I think in Boston, DC, several other cities, the tenant laws are basically insane, and it gives tenants and people that aren't even tenants, basically squatters, sometimes the rights to do things as if they were living there for years. So one of the best ways to learn about the tenant laws obviously would be to read the tenant laws, but there's also oftentimes famous cases that are in the newspapers and things like that, so you can get a good understanding just reading about like different stories of landlords versus tenants and things like that, just by reading the newspaper and basically just Googling different cases and legal situations that have happened in your area. And it's going to vary from city to city, from state to state, so keep that in mind as well. Mistake number 3 comes down to partnership. So when you're investing in real estate, when you're getting started, it can be very tempting to partner with different people. And as a new real estate investor, the only person you should ever even consider partnering with, and I would almost highly recommend not partnering with people, but would be a more experienced investor. If you're just like, if it's you and your friend and you're both brand new real estate investors, that is probably like the worst type of real estate partnership, because none of you know what you're doing. So only partner with people that are more experienced than you and can kind of get the deal to the finish line. I would add to that, you should only partner with people on like a deal by deal basis. When I was getting started in real estate investing, I basically partnered with someone that you might describe as a lunatic, drug addict, just a lot of issues going on. Which made partnering very challenging, to say the least. And if I had only partnered on like a small scale, like just on a deal by deal basis, I probably would have realized very early on what a horrible partnership it was. So that's what I would recommend. If you do decide to partner, and if you're a brand new investor and you're doing like co-wholesaling, that's very like low risk. So I would recommend doing that. But I'm talking about more if you're like developing a property or really rehabbing a property. Only partner with people more experienced than you, and only do it on a deal by deal basis so you can get a feel of what it's like to actually work with that person. And I'm not trying to discourage you from partnerships completely. I'm just saying be smart about it, because there's lots of amazing partnerships. In fact, some of the top real estate developers and real estate agents, real estate investors, they have different partnerships. But you just need to build up more experience and kind of gain an understanding of how the business works before you just like start partnering with people aimlessly almost. Mistake number 4, I can actually trace back to a Warren Buffett quote, where he says you should be greedy when other people are fearful and fearful when other people are greedy. So I'll tell you a quick story. What happened, I was under contract to purchase a short sale. It was like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, pretty large property. It was a condo, but it was a pretty large condo, short sale. And because the bank was taking too long and I just wasn't so sure about it, it was a little bit further than I would have liked. It was still a good location. I pulled out of the deal and basically bought like a studio condo, which is pretty low risk and not a ton of upside. However, that was like 2010. And that same 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo that I didn't purchase was shortly thereafter like approved by the bank for some ridiculously low price. And I would have easily made, like, I think I looked up the comps, which you should never do because it'll just piss you off. If you've been in real estate a while, you can see what properties have sold for, and that's just not a path you want to go down too much. But I think I would have made like $125,000 or almost $200,000 if I had just held on to that property and maybe just used it as a rental or maybe principal residence. But the value increased so much. And instead, because I bought a studio condo, which is like really low risk, and I was almost like fearful, like, oh, I didn't want to have some big property and whatnot, and I wanted a place a little bit closer to me. I think I made like $5,000 on the studio condo. So also, that's another tip. If you're looking for resale value, you should typically try to go bigger. As in get like at least a 2-bedroom condo. 2-bedroom condos typically have a much higher appreciation than 1-bedroom condos, at least in my area. So a minimum 2-bedroom condo, but if possible, like a townhouse or even a single-family house. Basically, the bigger the property, the higher the appreciation tends to be. Mistake number 5 is not starting a YouTube channel earlier. And I know you're probably thinking, how can that be even close to like $1 million mistake? Well, if you see a lot of real estate YouTube channels now, I mean, look at Graham Stephan, look at Meet Kevin. They're clearing like almost $1 million per year just from their YouTube channel alone. And I know those are kind of outliers, but overall, YouTube is a great place to like work on your marketing skills, work on your public speaking skills, get more leads, build your brand, and also make money. Like now I'm making, a good amount of money every single month. But if I had been more focused, 2 or 3 years earlier when I knew about YouTube and I knew how to rank videos on YouTube, I could be 2 or 3 years ahead, which is pretty interesting to think about, pretty exciting to think about. But that's just something I wish I would have started earlier. And if you're on the fence about starting a YouTube channel or not, I would say like there's literally no downside to it. It's only upside. You're only getting better at marketing. You're only getting better at public speaking. You're potentially could be making money, and you're just being like more well known in whatever industry you're in. So just start with like your iPhone camera. You don't need anything fancy. A lot of people think they need like super fancy gear. You can start with like an iPhone camera or any type of camera and just start making videos and get your first like 10, 20, 30 videos out there. And once you get your first like 30 videos out there, then you kind of have a feel for it. You know how it works, you know how to rank videos, and you can do a lot better and be more strategic with your channel. Mistake number 6 as a real estate investor was that I didn't look for additional sources of funding. I did a little bit, but I could have been a lot more strategic with it. Which means like when it comes to hard money lenders, for example, instead of just finding one hard money lender, you should reach out to like 10 hard money lenders. Every single hard money lender is going to have like a different type of operation. Some might be more of the mom and pop. Some might be like a big corporate organization based in, who knows where. And then there might just be like some guy who's a real estate investor that also does hard money loans, and he might be very flexible. He or she might be very flexible with their lending terms. So the last like 3 or 4 or 5 deals I did was with this one hard money lender, who was probably the most expensive and most difficult hard money lender to work with, maybe in the entire area. And looking back on the private money and hard money that I have now, it's basically half of what I was paying previously, which would have saved me, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of like 10 or 20 different deals. And if you're a private money lender or hard money lender, or you're interested in lending on discounted deals, definitely reach out to me on social media or in my email address below, and we can talk about, how it works. Because I'm always looking for good lenders that are flexible, easy to work with, and offer reasonable terms. I'm not trying to just like completely lowball a lender, just 2% interest rate, 3% interest rate. I want the lender to make a good amount of money as well. I just don't want to making like $70,000 per deal like my previous lender was. And it's pretty funny actually. I have a real estate associate. He's in the Chicago area, and he makes these kind of like wacky real estate videos. He does real estate investing. He's a real estate agent. But he made one about bad stereotypes for hard money lenders. And I'll put it right above here so you can see it. It's very funny to watch. So if you're not like the people in his video, definitely reach out to me if you're interested in private money lending or hard money lending. Okay, mistake number 7, and I've easily lost over $200,000 just from this one mistake, doing it a couple times, but just from this one mistake, is not following up fast enough on motivated seller leads. So if you have a seller that says they want to sell ASAP and the house needs a lot of work, you need to do everything you can to get that property under contract like ASAP. In fact, I just had a property that I just got under contract. I met the seller basically like within an hour of agreeing on price. I said, yeah, I'll come over. I'll be over there. I was like, I'll be in the neighborhood. I'll be there at 5 o'clock. And when I was talking to the seller, it was like 4 o'clock. So you need to be that quick when it comes to getting properties under contract. Because the thing with motivated sellers, these aren't your typical sellers. They just want the hassle gone. They want the property sold fast. They don't want to have to worry about it anymore. So do everyone a favor, get the property under contract, get it over to the title company, and then get to closing, within a couple weeks or 30 days, whatever closing date you put. But the sooner the better. These deals last maybe 24 hours before they're going to start calling like 5 or 10 other investors. So thanks for watching this video. And if you have any questions, definitely drop them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer them. And please like this video, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.